everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Allison with Baby Stepping to Freedom. In this video today, I'm going to talk about our savings account and how we are kind of spreading out our savings account between multiple different banks, and primarily today talk about Ally Bank and our first impressions on saving with Ally Bank. So stay tuned. So Ally Bank is a solely online bank where they have checking accounts, savings accounts, all other like CDs and that kind of thing where you can invest as well. We chose to open an Ally savings account back in March when we realized that we were going to have a pretty good chunk of money sitting there, and we figured, why not make a little money on it? You know, like, the point of a savings account is not to be an investment. The point of a savings account is to have that extra money so then if you need it, you can access it. But if you're just letting tens of thousands of dollars sit there, you might as well make a little bit of money on it, right? So we realized that our savings account at our credit union, which we had been using for our baby emergency fund during our debt-free journey, had a 0.05 interest rate, which meant we were bringing home like pennies on that money. And at that time, it was only $1,000. But as we started realizing the amount of money that we were going to have in our savings account, we were like, why not just move the money somewhere else and make a little bit of interest on it? So we looked around a little bit for some high yield savings accounts, but honestly, I know a lot of people who use Ally. Aaron has had Ally in the past, and we both felt like, well, you know, we'll give it a try. If we don't like it, then we'll just switch banks. It's not really like this like huge decision that we made. We didn't put a lot of research into it. We just figured, you know, let's give it a try. Let's see how we like it. Is it even worth having a high yield savings account, or is that difference in interest really like not worth the hassle of moving your money to a different bank? So we just kind of felt it out for a couple months and decided we would make like a final decision after we got a good feel for it. One issue we had with using an online bank is the access to the money. If we had an emergency and we needed access to our money immediately, having an online bank takes some time to like transfer money and that kind of thing. So what we decided to do is split our emergency savings between two different banks. The first would be our credit union, where we have all of our other bank accounts. We would have part of our emergency fund there and then part of it in Ally Bank, where it is earning a little bit of money. So right now we have $2,000 in our credit union account, and that just stays there. If we need the money, if we have an emergency, we have immediate access to $2,000. Above and beyond that, it takes us a couple days to get the money from Ally Bank. Usually when we make a transfer to Ally Bank, it takes like 2-ish days depending on when you do the transfer. I'm assuming the transfer out of Ally Bank would be around the same amount of time. We actually haven't done a transfer out. We've only done transfers in, which is good because that means we haven't had an emergency of over $2,000 since March, but I'm going to assume that it would take a couple days. So above and beyond a $2,000 emergency, we would have to wait a couple days to access our money. So that is kind of a downside to Ally, but we set that amount, $2,000, that we can immediately access because we really didn't anticipate an emergency that would cost more than $2,000 where we would need money immediately. So that was kind of our like happy medium there. And then the rest of our emergency savings has gone straight into Ally Bank as soon as we have that money available. So every time we do a budget and we have money that we're putting into savings, we just do a transfer right over to Ally Bank. Doing the transfer itself is super easy. We just set up our account on Ally and we just linked our credit union through Ally, and we just go in there and we say, transfer this amount of money from this account on this day. Just like any other transfer, except it's between banks. But it takes a couple days for the transfer to actually process. But after that, the money is there and it's as easy as transferring money within your bank. So that is definitely a pro of Ally Bank, is that it is super easy to send and receive money. So I mentioned the interest rate at our credit union savings account was about 0.05%, which is like nothing. So it's like 0.5%. The Ally interest rate right now, as I'm filming this, is 2.1%, which doesn't sound like a whole lot, but when you compare it to less than 1%, it is actually a pretty significant difference. We used to have a 2.2 interest rate from Ally, but we just recently got an email saying that they are dropping it from 2.2 to 2.1 because of something happening in the market. I don't really know what that means, but the email basically said that it's really not going to cause that much of an impact. It's like a couple dollars of impact because it's 0.1%, which that decrease is actually double the interest rate that we have at our credit union. But it's still, you know, in the grand scheme of things, not that big of a deal. We're still doing much better on that interest rate than we are doing at our credit union. One thing that we have considered doing to just kind of ease the maybe stress, it's not really a stress right now, but potential stress of not being able to access that money immediately is to open an Ally checking account. So as I mentioned, Ally doesn't just have savings accounts, they have everything. They're a bank, they just don't have in-person branches. And you can open a checking account that actually has a debit card with it. So what that means is we could have a checking account that we could transfer money from and immediately access our emergency savings in the case that we really needed it. We haven't decided to do that yet because I just really can't anticipate an emergency that we need more than $2,000 like in the moment. Honestly, I feel like the only time that people have to give over thousands of dollars in the moment is when they're being scammed by someone. You know, they call and say like,
"This is the IRS, you owe us $10,000. Oh, you have to pay it now or we're gonna come arrest you."
You know, like you see those on the news. I guess, you know, if we had a plumbing emergency, if we had a car emergency, if we had a medical emergency, all of those things could potentially be more than $2,000, but they're all things that could be paid later within a couple days, right? Not like I have to have $10,000 in hand right now. So because of that, we haven't opened a checking account, but it is a possibility if we start feeling like uneasy that we don't have immediate access to that money. Or we could just bulk up the savings that we have through our credit union that we have immediate access to. Either way, the possibility is there to open a checking account. So far in our time with Ally, since March, we have transferred into savings around $10,000 and we have made $51.66 in interest. When I looked at our credit union interest, we've made like $5 in the last year. So $51 in the past 3 months versus $5 in the last year. So it is a pretty significant difference, and over time, when our emergency fund is just sitting there and we're not using it, we'll actually make some decent money on it. And why not when it's just sitting, hopefully not being touched, because that means no emergencies. So all in all, we have really loved having Ally so far. I really don't have any cons to Ally other than the transfer time, but it's really an insignificant factor for us at this point. So it's nice to have that money kind of away so we're not tempted by it. We're not really tempted by the $2,000, but you never know when you'll see something and be like, oh, maybe I should spend $5,000 on this thing or whatever. But we're not really tempted by it because we don't have it in our hands right now. But that's really like the only con that I can think of. Overall, it's been a super great experience working with Ally and having that account. It's super easy to access everything and look at the account, and you know, it's just like any other bank, you just can't go in person. So we love Ally. It's been 4 months and I have nothing bad to say. So that's my review kind of Ally, like my first 4-month review with nothing but really actually good things to say about it. So if you have Ally or if you have another online bank that you really love, let me know down below what bank you have. I know of a couple, but I really didn't do that much research into it just because trusted people told me that they liked Ally. So I went with Ally. Probably not like the smartest way to make decisions, but like I said, it wasn't like the biggest decision I've ever made. So it is what it is. So let me know if you have a bank that you like. While you're down there, if you haven't subscribed yet, press that red subscribe button so you don't miss any future videos. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.